Welcome back to episode 49 of the ATD Baseball Podcast. Oh my God. Uh, the last time we were on here, it was Matt and I, and we did this on Friday after Game 4. And yes, the sky was falling, not completely, but you could see a pathway for the Phillies. This is inexcusable, what we saw the last two nights. Full house is here, myself, Kyle, and Matt, so I like that. But, Matt, this is your team. I'm so sorry. I'm done talking. Take it away.
I won't go on too long of a rant here. We got to get everybody's thoughts in here. Very disappointing series. Really felt good about coming back into Philly, coming back to that rowdy crowd at the bank. We only had to win one of the two games. Only one. Just one game. We had no problem winning there all postseason long. We come back to the bank, and we aren't able to win any of the games. And honestly, I think the damage was done in this series before those two games. Shout out Craig Kimbrell. I should probably double check my phone to right now to make sure I didn't send any hate messages last night at midnight to him and get blocked on Instagram. I don't think I did, but double check. I think that he's the reason we lost this series. He's the 1A. I'll get to 1B in a second here, but you cost us 2 games in the desert. We had those games. We were winning, or at least the score's close. Tied, at least. I think we were winning both times. But either way, you literally gave up the game-winning home run in the one game. You came in and gave up a couple of runs in the other game. You are the reason we lost this series, Craig Kimbrell. There's no two ways around it. 1B, here we go. Harper, Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos. That's it's got to be $1.5 billion right there, probably, in contracts. And what? We got like 3 hits from those 4 in the last 2 games. And Melo said right before we hopped on here, Trey Turner transformed back into a Dodger uniform for about the last couple innings there. And he's not wrong. He is not wrong. I mean, we saw Trey swing and had balls in the other batter's box, like 3 sliders and slider sweepers, whatever you want to say, in a row there in the 7th inning. Bryce Harper, listen, I can't rag on you too much, man. You're gonna have your bad stretches, I guess, and you were clutch all postseason for the most part. You came up about 20 feet short there on a home run, and I forget what inning it was, but there were 2 runners on 7th inning. There's 2 runners on, and he came up about 20 feet short of a Oppo home run. I really thought I had a shot by the way the broadcast made it seem, which shout out to them for making it seem like every home run's going about 700 feet. Don't know what cameraman that was, but you might need to be fired. Yeah. I don't know. D-backs really turned it on. I think a big part of the series in the last 2 games was they started stealing bases, and that really changes a lot because going first to home is basically impossible, but going second to home on a single happens quite a bit, and the D-backs took advantage of that quite a bit. Corbin Carroll steals second, Lourdes Gurriel steals second, Alec Thomas steals second. Any of these guys, Ketel Marte steals second, and then they're able to score on a single from second base. I think that's probably my 3rd reason the Phillies lost this series. Inexcusable, anyway. But yeah, that's what I got for right now. I'm sure somebody else is gonna piss me off here with something else they say. But Kyle, you haven't said much yet. What do you got?
Oh
Never.
Man, it's tough because my original prediction was Phillies in 6, and that's exactly what I thought was going to happen. but I expected more out of Philly fans. Look, I understand it's hard to stay in the game when your team is behind and it's not looking very pretty, but this Philadelphia crowd has come alive in the last 2 years, and you need to keep that energy. This team feeds off of that energy. I think that the Phillies might feed off their crowd more than anybody else, and I'd even be willing to say that in all of sports. This Philly team and the connection to that crowd is just, it's immaculate. It's great. Why the hell did you just become silent in all of Citizens Bank Park? Look, I understand, but like exactly what you did with Trey Turner. He was struggling at the beginning of the year, and then you cheer him on when he's absolute shitting the bed every single night. You need to keep that energy. I think that had a big deal in these last two games. I don't want to dog on the Phillies too much because there was one man who gave the momentum right back to Arizona, and Matt, you touched on it, and that's Craig Kimbrell. This Diamondbacks team, they knew they could get to the Phillies, and after Craig Kimbrell did that, all the momentum went to the other side, and this is a very impressive young team. Corbin Carroll is an absolute superstar, and he was a joy to watch. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have much else on this, but these big guys, they need to come up. You know, you touched on that as well. You know, Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Castellanos, all these guys, they need to show up. And I'm going to give a shout out quick. Brandon Marsh, come on now.
Yeah.
NLCS, he was a hell of a player. Dude, every single, just even a base hit or a walk, that dude was looking at the dugout and ready to go. Shout out to him, but Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, you did your thing. Ranger Suarez, you did your thing as well. Now, if you do want to look at the bright side of this, Matt, I'm specifically talking to you here. The Philadelphia Phillies are not going anywhere. This team is damn good, and they're going to be damn good for years to come. They have a great front office. I think Dave Dombrowski's the guy. I think he's going to have some big moves this offseason. So there is some positives. This team is not just, this isn't it for them. They're going to be good for years to come. They have a core, and they're going to build around it, and they got some young arms coming up. McAble, Painter, all these guys.
Andrew Painter.
Yes. So these guys are coming. This Phillies team is not going anywhere. I think they're going to be good for many years to come.
I thought you were going to say on the bright side, I'm an Eagles fan too, and they're doing pretty good and are going to whoop up
All right,
on
Matt,
the Giants
listen.
this year in the NFC.
Listen, Matt. All right. This is a baseball podcast, so I am going to keep it very light here. No, absolutely not. I will never say that shit. Come on, Matt. You are talking to a Yankees and Giants fan here. Come on, man. Come on. I'll respect the Phillies. I will always
New York Football Giants.
Yes, your New York Football Giants. I will give the respect to where it's deserved, and that is to the Philadelphia Phillies. But when there's respect and the Philadelphia Eagles, they just don't go in the same sentence. I'm sorry.
Damn.
Well, listen, I got one thing to say quick, Melo. Craig Kimbrell, welcome to Dubai, buddy. Welcome to wherever you want to say. You better learn Chinese, Japanese. Welcome to the Guangdong Tigers, my dude, because you better not be seeing a major league contract, especially not in Philadelphia again. You will get booed every single time you come out of the bullpen, and I will be one of them. You know how Philly fans heckle the opposing reliever in the bullpens? Phillies fans are that petty. They will do that to you, Craig Kimbrell, if you sign back with Philly next year. We don't forgive things like this. We don't forget things like this. I mean, you look back at some of the other. Mitch Williams didn't live too long in Philly after blowing that World Series. So, anyway, sorry, Melo, go ahead.
No, with the crowd, it's easy to get behind Trey Turner, who's struggling in June when there's still 100 games left to go in the season. It's a lot difficult when you're up, when the series is supposed to be over. I mean, let's face it, there wasn't supposed to be a Game 6 and there wasn't supposed to be a Game 7. If the offense does what they're supposed to do, and, if Castellanos and Turner can get a big hit once in a damn while, and we just dumped on him again, like if Craig Kimbrell can, get 3 outs.
Throw
I'm not
a
even asking.
ball in the strike zone. Come on.
You know, they've been doing this all postseason long. They're playing with house money. And, it helped that when they were down 3-2 coming back to Philly, that everybody basically said, that's it. It's over. They might win Game 6, but they're definitely not winning 2 games over there.
You thinking of anybody in specific?
Rousseau? Jeez, man. You got to be a little smarter than that, my friend. But just you saw a Diamondbacks team that was playing with house money, had nothing to lose, and that's been how they've played, nothing to lose. And you saw it last night. Game was tied 2-2. Momentum all on the Diamondbacks side. They're not supposed to be here. They're an 83-win team. They were supposed to lose to the Brewers. They were supposed to lose to the Dodgers. They were supposed to lose to the Phillies. And now they're in Game 7 of a league championship series when everybody thought they weren't even going to be this far. They got nothing to lose. It would have been devastating, and it would have been hard for the players and whatever Arizona fans that exist until yesterday. It would have been hard for them, to we had this once-in-a-generation team that, who knows, they're going to get better. They're one of the teams of the future without a question. But when do you get this close? And if they would have lost Game 7 last night, it would have been heartbreaking for those players and the manager, Torey Lovello. But it would have been like, you know what? We weren't supposed to be here anyways. Phillies are a better team. They had the home field. You can live with it. But if you're a Philly fan, you can't, because what are we going to remember 30 years from now? The Phillies beating the Braves 2 years in a row, that's out the window right now. Nobody cares. I'm sorry, Matt. No one cares right now. Hang on. I'll get to that. Hang on. What are we going to remember in 30 years? That the Phillies beat the Braves 2 years in a row, or that you let an 83-win team come into your building and win 2 games and you didn't get to the World Series? What are we going to remember in 30 years?
Maybe. It depends. It depends what we see in the future, obviously, because who knows, if a World Series could be in the Phillies' future, or missing the playoffs the rest of this with the little core they have right now could be in. You never know what baseball holds. So if they can get a World Series, I think people can look past it. But if you can't finally capture that ring in this and I will call it the Bryce Harper era, in the Bryce Harper era for the Phillies, yeah, then you're gonna look back and say, oh, you lost to the Astros in the World Series, but you'll say, well, we weren't exactly supposed to be there. We're like the D-backs from this year. We weren't supposed to be there. And then you'll say, well, you should have beat the D-backs, though, in 2023. And then, obviously, who knows what next year holds. I mean, they could come in as the favorites again and lose to the Brewers. Who knows how anything goes. But I at this point, I mean, it's still, at least as a Phillies fan, maybe we hold it pretty high in regards that we beat them. We beat them boys from Atlanta back-to-back years in the NLDS. I guess maybe that's a biased opinion, but
it's amazing what teams can play like when they have no expectations. We saw that with the Diamondbacks this year, and we saw that with the Phillies last year. Very loose, relaxed, we're not supposed to be here, and ironically, both teams find themselves in a World Series. And I told you this a couple nights ago. I wanted to see how this Philly team would play with expectations, because you weren't the cute little underdog story coming into this year anymore. There were real expectations. And it's a team win, and it's a team loss. I know everybody's killing Craig Kimbrell, and rightfully so. But a lot of these guys just went cold. This Phillies team was a very home run offense. If they're not hitting home runs, they're not winning these games half of the time. And just, it's amazing what it's like when there's expectations versus just playing with house money. And the Phillies, they crumbled a little bit.
They did.
Not completely, but they did.
They did. It was a big letdown, and I had a comment yesterday. I thought it was pretty clever. I guess not more than 5 or 6 people did. I thought that it was pretty clever. The Phillies' offense went colder than the Eagles' game in January in the last 2 games here. But it's tough when you've seen those 4 guys all click in the postseason coming up to now. They've all had their moments. Schwarber's had 2 home run games. Nick Castellanos, obviously, 2 home run games. Bryce Harper, clutch home run after clutch home run. Trey Turner's had his moments too. And then you get absolutely nothing in the last 2 games here. That's something like
Playing tight.
You can live with scoring 7 runs, but the D-backs score 8. I could live with that as a fan. I can't live with this Phillies team only scoring 2. Like, obviously that's the Phillies' MO is we're gonna hope to get really good starting pitching, but we really need our offense to score 3, 4, 5, 6 runs, maybe even for us to win this game, because our bullpen. Listen, even outside of Craig Kimbrell, I don't feel fantastic about everybody in that bullpen. I like Alvarado. I like Matt Strom coming out of the bullpen. I like Orion Kirkering. He's a rookie, man. I don't hold that against him getting not shelled, but like getting hit on a little bit in the NLCS here. I said Alvarado. There's some names there that you don't feel great about, though. So the Phillies offense obviously was supposed to be their key to winning these games. I mean, we saw that in the first 2 games. We saw that in Game 5. But then you can't just be seeing that Game 1, Game 2, Game 5. We should have been seeing it in one of the last 2 games, but you got shut down by Merrill Kelly and by Brandon Pfaadt. You can't live with that as a Phillies fan. If you lost to Zach Gallen, which is hard to say now because we sort of owned him in the NLCS, but like if we came into this series and I said somebody told me Phillies lost to the D-backs in 7 and Zach Gallen shut you down in Game 7, I'd be like, you know what? Zach Gallen gonna finish top 5 in NL Cy Young this year. I can live with that as a fan. But getting shut down by rookie Brandon Pfaadt in Game 7 doesn't really sit well with me. But yeah, I'll give a little bit of props to the Diamondbacks. Like I said, I think a big key was them stealing bases in the last 2 games here. It really set up their offense well. And you were able... Ketel Marte is on, obviously, an insane streak right now. Everybody knows about that historic streak. Corbin Carroll picks Game 7, the biggest stage of his career so far, to finally perform really well in the postseason, of course. And you did it all without offense from Christian Walker, without anything really from Longoria. Moreno didn't have a big Game 7. But like there were plenty of guys who didn't do much, but you were still able to get enough from that lineup. Yeah, Seawald and Ginkel, those guys are gross coming out of the pen there. I props to them. That's the 2 people that I would love to steal and have them closing out the game for the Phillies, because you actually feel good going into the 8th and 9th inning with the lead, not crossing your fingers, all your toes, your butt cheeks, and whatever else you can cross, hoping the Phillies are able to not have any runs allowed here. But yeah, I guess props to the D-backs. I will say I've seen more LFG snakes in the comments. It probably has been more typed in the last 2 or 3 days than has ever been typed in the history of the world. Because like Melo said, D-backs fans are coming out of the like the cactuses out there in Arizona. I don't think they have bushes too much out there. But I've seen more D-backs fans in the last couple of days than I've seen in my entire life. So
Yeah, and Bryce Harper after the game too, if I can get on him a little bit. He was basically saying, "Oh, I felt I disappointed the entire city of Philadelphia. I let all the fans down." No one wants to hear that. Okay, just say you sucked and that's it. Bryce Harper is really good, and to his credit, he's really good about playing for the city of Philadelphia and playing for the fans. He seems like he enjoys playing there. But after losing a game 7 like that, don't get the fans involved with this, please. Don't say that. Okay? Yeah, they know. Believe me, they know, and I'm sure they let you know in your DMs and your Instagram comments last night that you let them down. So just Bryce, no one wants to hear that. Just say you sucked and that's it. We'll see you next year. I don't know. I don't know why I just kind of didn't like that. It's like they know you suck. Believe me.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. If there's anybody who should be apologizing to Philly, it is Craig Kimbrell. And listen, nobody's listening to you speak a word out of your mouth right now anyway. So it's not worth talking to the media. I don't think he's even said anything.
I don't even
haven't
think they
seen
talked
anything.
to him last night.
No, which I guess.
You
I'm
talked to
not
him
gonna
after
take-
game 4. You don't talk to him after game 7.
I guess you don't take. I'm not gonna take any shots at the people in the media, but I guess they probably wouldn't really press him too hard on that anyway. But whatever. I don't know. We got anything else? I think I've spilled out most of my tears on
You feel better?
Phillies. Like I said, I feel a lot better today than I did last night. My biggest thing was anytime the Phillies were down more than a run, it was like, I don't think we can overcome this. Because then you're relying on, well, basically in Phillies terms, you need a walk or a single and then a home run. That's how I was thinking the whole game. Or we need back-to-back home runs. The Phillies aren't patching here a bunt, a double, another single, and then like a walk and another hit. Like that's not Phillies offense right there. Like Melo said. So, yeah, I don't know. World Series though. Time to take off my Phillies hat. Not what Major League Baseball and Rob Manfred want necessarily.
And whatever Rob Manfred says in the next week, he's lying. Okay, if he tells you it's good for the sport, I'm telling you right now, he's lying. He doesn't believe that at all. If you hear out of his mouth that the Rangers and the Diamondbacks is a good World Series matchup, he is lying straight to your face.
I mean, it is tough when you lose the whole East Coast because if you're not a diehard baseball fan, you have nothing invested in a World Series game at 11:30. Because I'll be honest, I'm not a huge NBA fan, but if my Cavs were playing, which they were, back in like the 2016 days, those back-to-back-to-back finals against the Warriors, I was invested in those games. Otherwise, when it was the Spurs era or, whoever else, the Warriors playing like the Celtics 2 years ago or whatever, I wasn't invested. I wasn't staying up for those late West Coast games because I couldn't care who won. So you lost all of the mid-tier baseball fans to borderline not baseball fans because nobody on the East Coast is staying up till 11:30, 12 o'clock for these games to end unless they are diehard.
And a lot of these historic teams did not make it into the postseason this year. You had no Yankees. You had no Red Sox. You had no Cardinals. You had no Cubs. You had no Giants on the West Coast. So that big market in the East Coast, you had no Blue Jays. You had no Mets. They didn't make it. So you were relying on, in the American League, I guess you can throw the Rangers in there. That's okay. Houston, maybe Baltimore. And then on the national, East Coast, they're a young team. I don't know. National League, you were depending on the Dodgers, and you were depending on the Braves, and you were depending on the Phillies. One of those three teams get to the Fall Classic, and neither of them did. So you had lost a bunch of East Coast teams already because those big market historical teams didn't even get in this year. And that's a problem.
I mean, just thinking off the top of my head here, worst possible ratings-wise matchups that MLB like to cook up. I think Diamondbacks, Marlins. Well, obviously that wouldn't.
Rays.
But Diamondbacks. Yeah, so like a Rays Diamondbacks or a Marlins Diamondbacks World Series would have been maybe like worst case scenario for MLB.
Texas
but I
helps
don't.
a lot.
Texas helps a lot, but like I still don't know. It's still not gonna be great. That's for sure. Astros would have been more desirable, I think, but
Oh,
um,
I don't know about that.
I think so. I think so for Major League.
Yeah.
They have a huge fan base, and a lot of haters are gonna watch anyway. Just,
That too. That's true.
but it's not a great matchup rating wise. But if you're a true fan, it's a pretty good matchup.
Like us three.
That's right. So, Kyle, what are your initial thoughts going into this series?
Um, I mean, you have a clear-cut winner already. That's the way I look at it. I mean, the Rangers should have no problem beating this Diamondbacks team on paper at least.
Whoa.
I'm sorry, that's the way I feel, you know? I mean, we've seen this Rangers team knock off the Astros, which what American League teams really have been able to do that. This offense can go out there and score you, I don't know, 10 runs on any given night when they're all clicking. And these rookies coming up, Evan Carter, Josh Jung, these guys are like, they're making their mark. And their pitching staff, that's the one thing that we thought that might be a little shaky. Jordan Montgomery pisses me off, but looks absolutely amazing, and he's setting himself up for a hell of a payday. Nathan Eovaldi,
Not a playoff pitcher.
Yeah, do not get Yankee fans started on that because we do not feel that way. Anyway, Nathan Eovaldi, he's another one who pisses me off. He's out there throwing.
Dodgers legend.
Yeah, he's doing his thing. Andrew Heaney, for some reason, he's still getting.
Dodgers legend.
Yankees legend as well. All three of these guys have played for the Yankees. That's why I'm a little iffy about that. But, this team just looks so damn good all around. The only thing that I could say about them is maybe the bullpen worries me a little bit. But we were saying that at the beginning of the postseason, and they're proving us wrong. On the other hand, you have a Cinderella story. I mean, this Diamondbacks team is obviously capable of anything. They made it this far. They got past the powerhouses in the Dodgers and the Phillies, and they knocked off the Brewers. I mean, it's given me, just like you guys said, it's given me the whole vibe from the Phillies last year. So, my initial thoughts are just, Texas on paper should win this, and it shouldn't be that close, honestly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll say quick one thing.
No,
Melo.
go for it. Go for it.
When you have Cinderella stories, there's a couple ways those can end. It's either the shoe fits really well for Cinderella, or she trips walking down the stairs in a glass slipper that's the wrong size. We've seen it. You see it a lot in March Madness, but I don't know. I'm sorry, Melo. Go ahead.
No, you got it. No, just I'm gonna go with the historical factor here with the Rangers a little bit. I think it's time. You would think Rangers have been around since the 60s. They were bad for a while. They should have won the World Series in 2011 if it wasn't for Nelson Cruz and David Freese going off the last two games of the series. To me, they've paid their dues. It's hard, but to me, this Rangers team has that team of destiny kind of thing going on. And I know you can easily say that for the other side with the Diamondbacks, but that's just the way I feel. They, again, lost out on the division on the last day of the season. Had to go to Tampa. Handled them pretty easily. Destroyed and swept a very young, inexperienced Orioles team on the road. Took the Astros to Game 7 and were on the brink of elimination twice. And they won both games in Houston. Unless David Freese is popping out of the Diamondbacks dugout again, and Nelson Cruz finds himself playing in right field, to me, this is a team of destiny. I really believe that. You gotta wait some time, and I think the Rangers have waited long enough, and I think they're gonna win the series. Now watch the Diamondbacks continue to go on the Cinderella run and win the whole damn thing.
I was telling Melo and Kyle before we started recording, I almost rage bought an Adolis Garcia jersey just out of spite to so I could be a giant Rangers fan going into the series because that's how much I don't want the D-backs to win anymore, which is tough because if the Phillies didn't get eliminated by the Diamondbacks, I would be like all in on this D-backs team. But I'm sort of obligated now to root against them. But
Welcome to my side, Matt.
if I had to choose either one of you two's arguments here, I think I'd lean with Melo's a little bit more. It does seem like destiny for the Rangers, but like you said, not that the D-backs don't have it. I think the Rangers, their offense has just been too good recently. And we weren't counting on getting much of anything at all from their pitching, like Kyle said. And now we're getting a lot. We're getting dominance. We're getting great starts. We're getting gems. And when you put them together, we're getting Rangers in 3. We're getting, Rangers in 7, but they'll definitely take that versus the Astros. A comeback to get to the World Series. So I feel good about this Rangers team right now. Adolis Garcia, ALCS MVP and World Series MVP. Could be. I could see it.
It's not a stretch.
No, not at all. I think we got to do our predictions here because I don't think we're coming back on before Game 1. So I'm going to take Rangers in...
In 4. That's what he wants to say.
No, I would love to say it, but Rangers in 6. Rangers in 6. Kyle?
The shoe fits. The shoe fits this year.
Whoa!
I'm going Diamondbacks in 7.
Oh!
Whoa!
Listen, I think this team has it. They're special. I think this young core is well bonded enough, and I feel like heading into this postseason, no expectations whatsoever. I think they can do it. I think this offense has enough. I think the pitching staff has proved that they can get through it. Yeah, I'm going Diamondbacks in 7.
I think he only wants the Diamondbacks to win, so they'll shut up about the 2001 World Series and just start bragging about their 2023 World Series. But
no, it's not. And at the beginning of this, before the postseason started, we came on here and you guys, because I was the only one without my team in the postseason, you guys asked me if I had an honorary team, and I said it was the Diamondbacks. So I'm gonna stick with my team for the rest of this postseason. And listen, my predictions before, I've counted them out twice in these last 2 series. I'm not doing it again. Not going to. I'm sticking with them, Diamondbacks in 7.
fair enough.
So does this mean you get a Luis Gonzalez jersey now, or no?
Hell no. Absolutely not. Come on now.
Like I said, this is a team of destiny with me with the Rangers. They've paid their dues. It's the perfect storm of a great offense, along with pitching that was suspect coming into these playoffs, figuring it out. Bruce Bochy's their manager. They made the right hire at the beginning of this year, and it's paid off. Because nobody wanted this World Series, I think we get 7 games. Rangers in 7.
Wow.
Just because America didn't want it. And they're going to give it to us one more time. Rangers in 7. And they get their first world championship. And Nelson Cruz is forgiven.
My Rangers that I said ceiling of 90 wins before the season. Sorry, I have to keep taking victory laps on that until I have another big swing and miss. I gotta keep taking that for another victory lap here.
One more thing before we get out of here. They do this every year at the World Series. Who steals a base and wins America Tacos?
Oh yes. I'm gonna go. Cattell Marte.
I mean, the easy one to go with is Corbin Carroll.
Yep.
Do I want to go easy though? I'm gonna go Gurriel. Why not? Give me
I don't hate
Gurriel.
that. Damn, now I put myself in the situation. I'm gonna go with the leadoff guy for the Rangers. I'm gonna go Marcus Semien.
He's not gonna get his batting gloves tugged this time. Yeah,
I think
that's a tough one.
he'll get a walk on first because that guy has not hit a baseball in like 3 weeks.
You are not wrong. Okay. I think we got it all out there pretty good. I feel all right about Phillies right now. Obviously not great, but all right.
See you in Florida.
That's right. I mean, we're not like the Yankees. We're not already posting about getting your spring training tickets.
I was gonna
No,
say-
but Zach Gallen will do it for you. So
Yeah, he did. All right. Well, I could have did without that. I
Melo.
teed that one up for you, Melo.
Melo, I don't say this often. I appreciate you. I do.
that was an Adolis Garcia bat slam, and I'm gonna get plunked the next time I see Matt.
Well, I mean, that was Kyle calling for a fastball down the middle, me lobbing it in there to you, and you hitting it 450 dead center.
And I'm gonna stare at it.
Rightfully so. I guess I might get suspended from ATD for 2 games, 2 days coming up soon if I peg you. Better watch out. Okay. That's enough of episode 49. Appreciate you all tuning in, watching, listening, all that stuff.
Enjoy your tacos,
We'll be back.
America.
That's right. We'll be back probably Monday or Tuesday, just sometime to recap first couple games of the World Series. Shout out to the Major League Baseball, the whoever in the front office there, the scheduling. They didn't schedule the World Series on a Sunday because guess what? Sunday Night Football has been the top show in America for the last 15 years. You finally learned something there. You don't schedule one of those games against Sunday Night Football because it's going to lose every time. So, smart thinking there. Major League Baseball, for once. I wasn't being sarcastic either. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Later.
Adios.
Later.